moment. Mr. Yancey had a press conference yesterday. He's been up here campaigning with us on the campaign trail since February, and he's made a decided impact on shaping the values that we're going to move forward, and I wanted to take a moment and thank Darren Yancey for his contribution to this race. My name is Timothy D'Alessandro. I'm the conservative candidate for this seat. If you can find a more conservative candidate for Congress, you should vote for them because this is about getting our values to Washington. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I am a Christian. I am the conservative in this race. I am a family man. My wife, Stephanie, stand up, Stephanie, is back here with us today. This is why we're here. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a United States Navy veteran. My first job as a registered nurse was working for the VA hospital system in San Antonio, so I'm proud of my service on active duty, and I'm particularly proud of my individual service and care for our veterans. And I'm an Aggie. So, and absolutely, and if you're not an Aggie, that's okay. I've read the rules. You can vote for me anyway. That's enough about me, because this election isn't about me. This is about you and how to get your values and your passion to Washington. Because let's face it, I've been campaigning up and down this district since February. I've talked to people all over this district, and the first thing you guys normally say, and the first thing I normally hear is, "I'm scared for my country." Yeah, and I'm scared too. And so that's why we're here. We're here to take back our country. You're right, Chet has to go. Chet has to go for Waco, but Chet has to go for this nation. We have to stop this government in Washington. It's going to take 40 seats to change the House. This is the most conservative district in the entire United States with a liberal Democrat in Washington. If we're going to take back our government, this is ground zero, right here, right now. And you guys are going to be the warriors in ground zero to take back our government. Yeah? Talking to people around this district here, 3 things that you guys normally say that you want to see in your next congressman. I want to talk to you a little bit about those tonight. Number 1, you want someone that's actually going to vote your values. Number 2, you want a candidate that's going to be accessible to you, because our current congressman simply isn't. And number 3, you want someone who's not going to be a professional politician, someone who's going to be a citizen legislator. So let's talk about those 3 things. You want someone that's going to vote your values. In the last Congress, Chet Edwards voted with Nancy Pelosi 96% of the time. So far this Congress, he's voted with her 97% of the time. He perfectly represents San Francisco here in Waco. But he doesn't represent you. And so it's time to get a representative that represents Central Texas. And so, and when we talk about representing Central Texas, we're talking about our conservative values. Because the socialism they're trying in Washington, it fails every time it's tried. Conservatism wins every time it's tried. The Republican Party is dysfunctional at this moment. If you look at the National Republican Party, it's dysfunctional. But there's a reason why it's dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional because being a Republican anymore isn't the same thing as being a conservative. It's time to make being a Republican and being a conservative synonymous again. That's what's wrong with our party. Amen, absolutely. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to take this back at the grassroots level, because Washington's not paying any attention to us. It's not just the Obama administration not paying attention to us. The Republicans in Washington aren't paying any attention to us either. So we've got to take this district back here at the district level, at the county level, and as necessary at the precinct level. It's time to restore Reagan's conservatism to our party. It's time to bring Reagan's party back. And so I'm a supporter of some key things that will make that happen. I'm a supporter of the fair tax, so we can get rid of some of the lobbyists in Washington. I am, of course, pro-life. I think that's a necessary ingredient of being a conservative Republican. Having worked the VA hospital system, I have a little bit that I can go head-to-head with Chad on this. Having seen up and close and personal the way we treat our veterans at the VA hospital system, I believe our veterans should be able to go to the local hospital and doctor of their choice. I think that would be cheaper and that would be more efficient. Chet was up there at his town hall meeting saying how he had the same health care you guys have. Well, that's laughable, but if that's so, why can't our veterans get that same health care plan? Why can't our veterans go to the local doctor and hospital of their choice? So one of the things is you want a congressman that's going to be accessible to you, and this guy isn't. I mean, you can call Chet Edwards' office and he'll send you some form email, but it's not just a matter of Chet Edwards, it's a matter of having, the first way to get someone accessible to you is someone that's going to vote your values and agree with you most of the time. Let's face it, if you don't have a beef, there's a problem when we have a beef with something. When our government runs smoothly, we go on to get along, especially conservatives. Conservatives don't like to be buck in the system. We're not code pink people. We're out there working our normal lives. We just want the government to leave us alone and let us do our thing. When a conservative says, I've had enough, it's time to protest, it's okay. Now that you've got my attention, it's time to do something about this. I heard someone the other day tell me, he's 65 years old, just got his Medicare card. He's been a protester for the first time in his life. I mean, that's what we're facing. But being accessible means, first off, if you got someone that votes your values, then you don't have to be so concerned about, you know, taking them out to the woodshed, which is what we have to do with this current congressman every time we turn around. And so, I'm going to vote your values, your conservative values, and that's going to go a long way being there. But also, I think your congressman should be out here in meetings like this on a routine basis, and not just meetings like this. At the Democrat Party one too. When we get a conservative Republican here, we should be out throughout all the districts because we're representing all the districts and we're representing their values. Chad Edwards should be here today to get what for from you and to get input from you. Of course, he would never do that, but that's a different story. The last thing you want is a citizen legislator, not a professional politician. Washington's broken. We understand that Washington is broken. We also understand the solution. I've heard people say this all up and down this district. We need citizen legislators to go there for a spell and then go home. Washington, the aristocracy built into Washington is to the point where you can't stay there for 10 years and not be corrupted by the system. They'll corrupt you one compromise at a time. And so the second part of that is term limits. And everywhere I go up and down this district, I hear that we need term limits. And so I had my doubts at first when I first started campaigning, but we're listening to the people of this district that hear what people are saying, and I think I've come around full term that there's no way to get rid of this corruption in Washington until we have a mechanism where we can yank these people back. But that goes to the point of being the smartest boys in the room. This whole idea that I'm the smartest boy in the room and I know better than you. When you send someone to Washington that thinks they know better than you, what you get is someone that doesn't care what you think. Why should they? And so the question isn't that there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of us here that can go to Washington and only we can do the job. I think there's literally thousands of us that can do the job because it's not about an impressive resume. It's about our values. It's about someone that's going to take our values to Washington and stay true to our values in Washington. And so I want to talk to you lastly about integrity. I am a registered nurse. I have the care of people of this district entrusted into my care every day. In the military, I served at the National Security Agency outside Washington, D.C. I had a security clearance for the military. I have been in positions of key trust, both at the national level and right here at home. And I really believe that if we take conservatism to Washington, you combine that with that level of trust, and I will stay true to your values. The reason why I'm in this race, my wife and I sat down for 3 weeks in January and the first part of February deciding what can we do about this government. And you guys are all feeling this too, this conviction in your heart that something's wrong and we got to stand up and do something about this. And so the reason why we decided to do this, the reason why I'm here is because I want our values to be held true over in Washington. That is my #1 focus. It's not to go to Washington so I can have honor go after my name. I don't care about that. I care about having our values faithfully represented once we're in Washington. Yes? And so it's going to take 2 things to win this election. It's not going to take money. The statistics show that the average challenger that beats the average incumbent spends $700,000 and the incumbent spends $2.3 million. Money's going to matter and the money's going to be there. But it's not just about money. It's going to be about message, a good conservative message, because our message is, when we have our message, and it's going to take passion, when we have the passion behind that message, we're the victors. 1 minute. We are the victors when we put our passion and our message together. And so that's what I'm offering you. I'm offering you a strong conservative message, the most conservative message. It's a line I've drawn in the sand. If somebody else wants to come up and say they're more conservative, that's the debate this primary should be about. And it's going to be about passion. I've been told I'm a little wild-eyed on the campaign trail. I get a little passionate. If you're not passionate about your values, why are you here? It's time to take back our government, and if I'm a little passionate about it, so be it. That's what we need in Washington. We need our values not just faithfully represented, but enthusiastically represented. And that's what I offer to you. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to meeting you one-on-one.